Hey guys, Coach Muhammad here.
And we have Coach David, and we have a special guest from Team Lead, Ruben Bueno. And so he's coming up to train with us for, till New Year's Day?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, from Tuesday. This Tuesday. Yep. So.
You said that like you're true Hispanic.
New Year's Eve? Or?
His name. How did you say that again?
Oh, you did. Well, I've picked up certain dialects. Like you'll notice like when I yell, like it's not Sarah, it's not Ferris, it's Sada, Faris.
Yeah.
So like they it's a little extra edge. If you don't speak the language, you can at least get the name correct. So that's the edge.
That's hidden skills and talents of a black belt.
Yeah. So it's just general Q&A, right?
Yeah.
So so you trained. I have a question for Ruben.
Yes.
You trained before you lost your leg.
Yes, sir.
Right. What rank did you get?
I had just got promoted to purple belt actually, and a month after is when I had my accident. So after that, I had taken about a year off, and I've been training back this past 6 months, and just getting back in the groove of things.
Oh, really? Okay. So I know when we met at Dallas.
I had just barely.
Yeah, I was
got
gonna
back
say
in
you must have just got back
in
into
the
it.
competitions.
All right. Yeah, that's active though. It's real active.
Most definitely, yeah, most definitely. So I had a question for you. So at what belt rank did you finally discover your game?
Purple.
Purple.
Yeah. Like any competent game, I clammed up into closed guard. I like closed guard, so I clammed up into closed guard at blue, but it wasn't threatening. And then even at purple, it still wasn't super threatening. But then I built it from there because I was like, I'm not gonna play like it's yeah. So I lost a lot of bad habits, just really focused on closed guard. Now I'm confident in my closed guard, and I actually want to work on I was just talking with some guys yesterday, and they were I was like, someone's gonna open it, and so now playing a little bit more open quarter guard butterflies.
As your main training partner, I'm glad I got a heads up on what your strategy is. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, we train together multiple times a week. It's always good to know what he's thinking before he's doing it. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got a question for Coach David.
Okay.
So congratulations on your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Thank you. Yeah. Same to you as well, of course.
Thank you. So you've been training for over 10 years, and you definitely deserve it. It's a privilege to train with you. So yeah, you're one of the most active competitors that I know over the last 10 years, like pretty consistently. You get your black belt, and it was a really, really big surprise.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it was a big surprise. But I just want to, how can you share the feeling outside of the surprise of the black belt, tying it around your waist, carrying it? It's been a short amount of time, but for somebody new that says, oh, new people are here, oh, you're a jiu-jitsu black belt, or are you a black belt? Everybody knows they're very, it's not a common thing to meet or roll a trainer to black belt. So what is the feeling? Or what is the thought process? Initially, it was verified and stamped, you are a black belt. So share that with somebody brand new.
It's still been 20. It hasn't even been 24 hours, maybe barely, and it still hasn't really hit me. It's still it literally. It's the second time. So I got it yesterday, and I just put it on for this, and it hasn't really hit me. I'm looking down, because every other belt I was at, years, blue belt for years, purple belt for years. I was talking to Amanda. I was the brown belt shorter than any other belt.
Which was how long?
Which is probably 15 months. Yeah, 15 months. Yeah, I got September 18, December 20, or 19. So yes, 15 months. 14, 15 months, and that's like, and so I'm like, I'm used to having like some time to ramp up. Like I was planning 2020 competition schedule at brown belt. I mean, it's not going to change really, but it's like changes just the whole. So it hasn't really hit. I guess I don't really still wrapping my head around. Hasn't sunk in yet.
Your question.
My question would be, how does what is your plan? I know your situation, you know, everyone's got their own personal life and background, but what is your plan to compete at black belt? And I was explaining this to my family yesterday. Why do you think a lot of black belts don't compete anymore? Like they compete leading up to, and then they stop. Why do you think that is?
Well, like as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, once you get the black belt, hopefully, you know, you stay healthy enough to where we're black belts longer than any other rank. So once you get there, you're not going anywhere. So, you know, as a different rank, whenever you go compete against somebody, you're not likely going to be that rank for more than a couple years. But as a brand new black belt, so if David competes tomorrow or I compete tomorrow in a tournament, we could essentially be competing against somebody with 2 and 3 times the amount of training that we've had. Because once you get the black belt, there's no, you know, there's no next level as far as
They don't
competition.
differentiate by degrees. It's just.
So I think that is a little bit scary, and it's, you know, intimidating. And for competitive people who've competed all the way up inside their ranks and they get there, you know, nobody likes to lose.
Of course.
And it's a hard thing. I think it's a hard thing to swallow where you lose, and you were moving good, doing good, but the guy had just been, you know, like so much more mat time than you. You know, it's like you go to the gym. It's like going to the gym for 2 days a week for 10 years, but you're all of a sudden going against somebody that's gone to the gym 4 days a week for 10 years. Think about who's going to be better at their job. So I would think that's probably the reason. So.
And y'all think like as getting us black belt, you think it's like just like starting new again, like a clean slate, or is it? Do y'all feel like it's not any different? You know what I'm saying?
What do you think, Coach?
You know, my instructor told me the other day, a couple months ago, he's like, you know, we're gonna come up and it's time for you to go to black. And he's like, you know what, you're gonna kind of have to start your journey over at black belt, and you kind of start from scratch. So like anybody else, when you go to black, I mean, I wasn't really sure, but when he's like, you kind of have to start over and figure out your whole jiu-jitsu game over again, I'm like, well, if I have to start completely over, I've been confused lately, so I think I'm ready to be a black belt. So I don't, I think that, I don't know about starting over, but I feel like probably a little bit more confident to experiment now. I think that's another way of saying starting over, but I think I feel more confident to experiment because I have a good base enough to kind of defend myself against, you know, someone like you who's relentlessly attacking me. Hold off, but experiment. Hold off, but experiment. So that's what I would say. So Ruben, I have a question for you. So I know we talked a little bit earlier, but man, you're at such a disadvantage, and I know that's the topic of like anytime you speak to somebody about jiu-jitsu, like how do you do it, you know, and you got like you use strengths in one side, you're at such a disadvantage. Does it ever get to a point to where it's like, you know, you're very sneaky. You're very sneaky, rolling with you. I like your creativity and your deceptions when you're training. I also like how you're really attacking. But at the end, you're at a big disadvantage. 25% of your body's completely gone. And so does it ever get to a point where like that portion of it is like, man, I know I'm doing good. I'm training hard and I'm doing what I could do. And I developed some really things that are effective, but you know, I don't have a leg. I don't know. I just, you know, I can't do it, or like almost like you want to give up because it's like
Most definitely. I mean, at the beginning it was like that. I mean, I was so hard on myself, you know, and because I was just so used to always, you know, having both legs. You know what I'm saying? So once I lost my leg, I had to start. Like I said, I had to start all over again. I had to start building a new game. I mean, every technique that I'm learning or that they show me, I have to modify it. I mean, because I don't have the leg. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, some days, I mean, I do get down on myself, but I mean, I got to look at the bright side. I mean, I'm still alive and I'm still doing what I love. You know, so I mean, of course, some days I'm gonna have bad days and I wanna, you know, give up or quit. But I mean, I've come so far to do all that, you know, and I've overcome, you know, so much, you know, that I can't give up because, like I said, I've overcome a lot these past couple of years, and I can't give up.
so. Okay, how do you chunk that down for the average person? Like, you know, the average person gives up on a lot less than you do. You actually go to the gym and you fight 3, 4, 5 times a week, fight people with 2 arms and 2 legs, and then you get frustrated. How can you explain that to the average person? Like, you know, don't give up, bro. I mean, look at
Man,
me.
a lot of it is mental, man. I mean, it's a big mental game. I mean, and I know it's hard for someone who's new, who's not used to. I mean, their ego gets in their way, their pride gets in their way. They're not used to getting, you know, beat up by a 125-pound guy that's they're 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? It's and especially a guy who has one leg. I mean, it's a big, you know, scare for them. So I mean, with those guys, I mean, I tell them, I mean, just don't give up. I know it's gonna be hard at times, but I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, I'm a walking proof. So I mean, I can't. There's some things you can say to tell them, you know, not to give up or not. But I mean, to in all honesty, I mean, I feel it's a lot of it is mental. It's mental, and I've overcome, like I said, I've overcome a lot of demons in my life, and it's all mental. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I can't express that more.
Proceed.
He mentioned having to modify the moves, and he was my partner for the seminar, and it was kind of like a not to bring it in, but like it almost shows. You're so good.
Yep.
It almost shows like you can come to class. Anybody else can come to class and go through the motions, but you like really have to be mentally committed to it. Like not only committed to it to like let's figure this out, but then you have to really understand why the move is working. Like, and so like because we were talking about, you know, like the butterfly sweep, you know, with the 2 hooks, whatever, and so we kind of had like workarounds to it. But you have to really understand. You have to really know why the move works. To make it work with one less tool in the toolbox. Like the best analogy I can think of is like obviously, you know, I used to do construction, and routinely we wouldn't have everything we needed. Like we just wouldn't have it. Like for one reason or another, whether it was tools, material, it was missing, but you had to make it work because, you know, we're dealing with like people's buildings would be unsecure. You had to make it work, so you had to understand the principles of what would still be structural to make it work with what you had. And so it's that ingenuity and also resourcefully, you know, of just like, you know, committed to making it work with what you got. And that's it. You know, I mean, you could easily, and we even talked with the kids, you could easily say, I got one leg, I can't do jiu-jitsu. And that's not the case.
True.
So Coach David, I had asked Coach Mo earlier today. So how do you prepare for competitions? How do you get your mindset right, and how do you prep prior to you? I mean, how long do you usually do your camp? I mean, I know you train consistently, so you're always ready, so you don't have to get ready. So I mean, but do you usually have like a mini camp and then prep mentally throughout that camp, or do you just well, how do you do it?
Yeah, I found a while.
Let me help him out. He fights to the death.
Oh, come on.
Every day for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then that's our camp.
I would say I try to. I found like a while ago. If I keep my competitions close to each other, like to kind of stay your base level of readiness is just going to be higher. Like as opposed to like doing 2 tournaments a year. Like I don't want to be 2 tournaments a year and then I have to spend 6 weeks getting myself back into shape. So like just knowing that, like within a 4-week period, there's going to be another tournament. You have to there's a base of preparedness, and then right before 2 weeks before, like 2 weeks prior, I'll really go
Train
hard. Try to weight train, specific specific weight training, and then those are, and then just go hard. Yeah, because we have a lot of even now. A lot of what, like Kurt Ossian, like he was. I watched it years ago. He was talking about everyone wants to they want to kill the coach. Like they just want to. He's like, it's messed up, man. You train these guys, and then they just want to they want to kill the ball, and that's it. And I can only imagine now what it's going to be like, because you got to target anybody. The young 20s, athletic wrestlers, motivated, hungry, and you got your black belt, like, okay, all right, well, let's see if it's that, and they want to test it, yeah, and any belt, purple, like he was just talking about his blue belt beating, like blue, purple, like they'd be like, wait, I'll be the white belt's going to be the judge of whether you actually got, so that's.
I think it's a, for the first couple of years, actually for many years, probably 5 years, there's a misconception that's ingrained in people's heads, is that regardless of your age, your rank, or anything, if you can beat the next person, you're doing good in jiu-jitsu. It's not really about how much of an understanding that you have of jiu-jitsu or what knowledge you have of the moves. It's more about if I beat him, that means I'm doing good, and I should, that's how I scale myself. And I think we've all been there, but and that type of, this is a fight sport, so that type of if you have that type of focus, it does put a lot of, they bring a lot of pressure to you, so I can see that.
So Coach David, how has Jiu-Jitsu impacted your life?
Nearly every area.
Yeah.
I would say nearly every.
Has it helped you, I mean, not on the mats, but off the mats as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. In fact, if the benefit was only on the mat, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. It's almost like, and that's almost like why I still weight train, because it's important for physical health, but like, there comes a point to where like, I can deadlift, I can't, but hypothetically, I could deadlift 400 pounds, or I can get a freaking fork truck and pick it up and like move it down. There's other things, like it doesn't need to be on the raw strength of my body, but the mental, like, there's some substitutes, like there's no substitute for mental strength. There's just no substitute for that, and that applies in like, I have just so many interpersonal relationships, personal, corporately. You're dealing with like the day-to-day daily stressors, like it just, the mental strength that comes from that is huge. And I was talking with Coach Mo and a new member who just signed up. It's almost like the stress that you go through on the mat, normal life can almost, like, not in a bad way, it can almost be boring though. Like it's almost like the mat is like the action scene of the movie, and then the rest of it's just that filler, and everyone else, like, they watch it to see what the plot is, but then it's like that, like they all want to get to the good stuff of, like, the action, and so like that it helps you with that.
Yeah,
as opposed to a lot of people, like their daily life frazzles them so much, like they're just, I'm gonna say I don't have stressors, but it's how you manage it, obviously.
So we'll each have one more question. I have one for Ruben. So Jiu-Jitsu teaches you how to live, how to work. It does, like Coach David would just say, Professor David was just showing. It teaches you like so many things off the mat that I think we all can agree. It gives you better tools on how to be a better husband, better father, better employee, better boss. It gives you life skills, right? In every phase of Jiu-Jitsu, there's lessons to be learned. So in the last few days, I'm curious if anything has stood out to you. It's like, you know, if you've had any aha moments or anything that stuck out to you, what have you learned in the last couple days, if anything, since you've been here?
What have I mean the whole experience here. I mean, I'm just forever grateful for y'all because I mean, as soon as I got here, I mean, I felt at home. I mean, coming from South Texas, you know, all the way up to here to the Midwest. I mean, I feel like I haven't left home. You know, I feel at home. You know, and that's what really brought me to awe. You know, because I was like I said, anyone that hasn't been anywhere, they're kind of, you know, skeptical about things. So, but I mean, I'm just forever grateful that y'all welcomed me with open arms, and I mean, like I feel like I haven't left home. I feel like I am at home still, you know, and that's what really impacted me because I mean, I've been to other gyms where you're the new guy and everyone's just, you know, wanting to bully you, or, you know, just wanna, you know, because you're the new guy, or there's just. So that's what really caught my eye, is just that, I mean, you are real genuine people, and I mean, I'm just forever grateful for you.
So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Again, what's the lesson?
The lesson.
The lesson that Jiu-Jitsu has taught you through these last couple days.
The lesson
Thank you for the
Jiu-Jitsu
compliment.
has taught me the last one. I mean, that's a stump right there. I mean, what has it taught me? In the past couple days that I've been here, what has it taught me?
Yeah, you might not have really gotten one, or you might put it together later on.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because I mean, I'm kind of stumped on that question. I don't think that I've.
Well, it's definitely been a great avenue, and that is the goal of Jiu-Jitsu, is to, you know, people say you make friendships and you have, you know, brotherhoods, and if you can come in here and feel like that, that means, you know, we're achieving, you know, one of our many goals to make it a better community for both of us and other people.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you'll reciprocate it.
Yes, sir. Most definitely, most definitely.
Coach David, you have one?
Yeah, my question would be probably for Ruben. Okay. And so how do you not just the past 3 days, but what is the, like, if you could only pick one reason that you've stuck with jiu-jitsu, like literally lost your leg in a car accident and we're ready to get back on the mats, what's the motive?
It saved my life. Jiu-Jitsu saved my life.
How so?
I was in a dark spot whenever I first started jiu-jitsu. I mean, I was in a dark spot. I mean, I was in a dark spot 2 times in my life, and I mean, it was unfortunate the second time. I mean, I lost my leg, but the first time, I mean, whenever I first found jiu-jitsu, I mean, I was in a dark spot in my life. I ended up totaling in another car of mine, and I needed to find another avenue to be able to get away and just be able to control those temptations and all that. So I started in San Antonio, Brazilian top team, and I walked into Brazilian top team with Coach Diego Gamonal, and it saved my life. I mean, from the aspect being able to control those temptations, to just being able to control my life in general. I mean,
You were using drugs at the time?
yes, sir.
So, like, hopefully this video reaches people who have done drugs before or have, you know, challenges that maybe you could be an inspiration to them. But, like, for someone who doesn't know, let's say you're doing drugs. What was your drug of choice?
Cocaine was my drug of choice.
Okay, so let's say somebody's doing cocaine out there, or maybe heroin or whatever it is. Like, how could somebody in that stage get to a point where they can actually go to a gym and do a workout? Like, what if this video ever reaches them? How could somebody in that stage, like, how you're doing drugs? How could you walk into a gym?
I mean, it was
everybody's like, "Oh, let me get clean. Let me not do anything for X amount of time," or like.
I mean, it's all on the person. I mean, it's all on the person if they want to change, you know. And I was already tired of being stuck and just being, you know, lost in the world. And I just need, like I said, I need to find an avenue. And honestly, what I can say is, I mean, God is the only one. Jesus is the only one that saved me and was able to pull me out of that situation and been able to get me where I'm at today, because I was really lost. And like Coach David said, he had asked me what has jiu-jitsu done. I mean, and it saved my life. And will continue to say that. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, my faith is what really has kept me together. It really kept me together and been able to get me pressing in and just keep doing the sport, because I could have easily given up and said, nah, forget this sport. You know what I'm saying? Look at the situation I'm in. But I mean, I persevered, and I kept coming, and I kept showing up, and I just want to be able to leave my footprint on this earth whenever I leave, because there's so many lost souls out there, you know, and I just hope to be able just to be an inspiration to anyone. And the way I see it, if I can at least touch one person's life, I did my job here on this earth. You know, I just want to leave my footprint. So I mean, that's what
I'm sure you've already touched many more than one. I know you touched myself and David's life just by having you around. So I can't. My hip is hurt, and I told you about that. Every time I say it around him, I'm like, man, I can't say that. It's like it's. At least I got the rest of my foot, you know. So you've inspired a lot of people, and that's why we wanted to bring, get you here and help you bring awareness to living, persevering, and living a life that is not about accepting limitations and just kind of working beyond them and trying to do something that's good for you and good for the people around you.
I do have one follow-up question.
Yes,
Since you mentioned your faith, and obviously I'm a Christian as well. Coach Muhammad's a man of faith. There seems to be like a circle of like, with a moral, like a kind of a righteous life like that. People avoid any conflict, any confrontation, any type of violence at all. Like generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you balance that? Like if you have a stigma, like a lot of people, they hear jiu-jitsu, they either think karate or they think UFC.
Yes, sir.
And so like how do you balance that with like, I guess what's that like of how can you take part in such a violent, you're choking people out. You know what I mean? So it's it's not like a hateful violence.
Oh yeah,
but it's
How could that be holy?
How do you balance the two?
I mean, that's a good question, man. Man.
I have an answer for that.
Okay.
And it's my opinion. I think, like you said, anybody who believes in God, if we take a closer look at a good Christian, a good Muslim, a good, whatever other faith, we're talking about, I've seen that it's very common that people in the positions of faith, they put a lot of energy and they live a life of like faith and worship. And I think there's become it's common to see people in positions of faith that are not so healthy. Like they put all of their energy into faith, which I think is ultimately, it's a good thing, but people of faith are considered nice, humble, patient people. Those are the pillars of what we believe as people who follow holy books, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're also like so nice and so patient that they also come across as like they could be pushovers, weak, because they're so you got to submit to your when you have faith, you got to submit to somebody, and that also means submitting to having patience. And I think it's very common for people to say it falls into being not confrontational. And it's so common of people that are preaching are unhealthy or weak because they don't give time to the physical body. That's my personal opinion. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Dave?
I'm routinely getting in trouble for how outspoken I can be. Like, and not even in a bad way, but like this is a jiu-jitsu academy. Okay, so like if those who want to know my thoughts on nearly any topic, it's pretty public on Facebook. I don't vocalize them here very often. But when I'm at church or in a church setting and someone says something, I'm gonna make it very clear where I stand on the topic. And so like, and they're like, oh well, how I present it, comes off. It can come off. If I think they're wrong, I'm gonna tell them I think they're wrong directly. And
so if we just had to dig a little bit deeper and make sure we don't go, obviously we can cut this. What do you like? Give us an example.
So, okay, an obvious example is, like, you mentioned the health thing, okay? Or we'll talk about kids. Like, kids, like, if I think you're a terrible parent, and, like, you know, like, you're gonna reward, like, you wanna reward your kid for everything. Like, here, if you know, stop crying and I'll give you a treat type thing. Like, I don't really believe it. Like, I'm like, no, if you don't stop crying, there's consequences. I'm not gonna reward you for doing what you should already be doing. That's one example. You know, if they do something, you know, like it's like, you know, they do get rewards and things like that. Like, but that's just one. You know, that's one example. I'm also, yeah. I mean, even, you know, we talk about things like addiction. You know, addiction being a disease as opposed to a choice. You know, like I'm pretty vocal about that.
So you believe addiction is a choice, not a disease?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can respect that. Anything else? Any other questions you guys wanna? Anything else you guys have?
All I got.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. You could see more of this interview on, probably upload this to YouTube.
Yeah, it's long, so it'll be YouTube.
Yeah, so
Definitely YouTube.
I don't think we have to do much cutting unless we want to pull pieces out.
I don't
Did we
care.
cross
Like,
any lines?
I mean, look, if we just said this before, I'm not offensive. I wouldn't say I'm like, you know, I'm just what I believe. I'm direct about. I'm not gonna and that's, you know, I'm not gonna shy away from it. You know, cause like the let them run you over. You know, like your beliefs. Like, no one's gonna run you over on what you believe. Like, you're not just gonna let them steamroll you. You know,
Yeah, of course.
Same with you. They're not just gonna steamroll you and kind of throw what you believe under the rug. Be like, no, this is what I believe, and that confidence to stand up for it. So all that's safe. I don't think we crossed any lines,
Very cool.
and I don't really care if we did.
Coach Muhammad, Metro Jiu-Jitsu.
Ruben Bueno out of 5 points jiu-jitsu.
And Coach David, guys, as always, we will see you on the mats.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ruben, you want to shower?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Just gonna check in with
Because if
Coach.
they did have a problem, they could come on the mat and fight me.
Yeah. Mainly, I'm getting with